Okay, we are live. If you guys can see me, let me know in the comments below. Let's see. I'm fashionably late as always. I am in my basement currently, where I do all the shipping for my store Stone Ridge stickers, but it's also where I do the shipping for any signed books. So, obviously today we're celebrating 200, oh sorry, 20K subscribers. Which is amazing. Thank you all so much for subscribing. Thank you for tuning in during this live stream. We're doing a special sale today, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up the link that you guys can use to shop signed books at any point today. Just go to my store, stoneridgestickers.com, and then go to the signed books tab. So yeah, we're doing lots and lots of signing today. I'm actually going to I have another computer next to me that will allow me to actually fulfill the orders, so I'm going to fulfill them live right here with you guys. So if you ordered a book and you want it signed and personalized, just comment with your order number and who you want it signed out to. So that is what I am working on currently. And yeah, oh my gosh. Well, Dale Roberts in the house. Thank you so much for the super chat, and thank you so much for just showing up for the live stream. So today we are just celebrating, and we're celebrating by one, the signing, obviously, and two, just doing like a Q&A. So whether it's about me or publishing or maybe marketing, cover design, formatting, all that stuff, I'm here to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So let me know what you guys want to discuss. I do have one question that came in over Instagram. I'm going to wait a little bit before I get started because I don't know if the person who asked the question is even here yet. So yeah. So, goodness, it's been so long since I've done like a live stream just myself that I don't know what to do with myself sometimes. But thank you all for attending. So I'm going to just start off with the one book that I already know who I'm signing it out to. It's actually a Meet Me at the Summit swag pack. So this feels so strange to be signing books with you guys, but the Meet Me at the Summit swag pack includes the teal VW bus pin, and it also includes a vinyl sticker of the VW bus, a vinyl sticker of the cover art, and a vinyl sticker of like a camping scene. So how cute. So that is what you're going to get if you get the Meet Me at the Summit swag pack, which is just so much fun. And I'm going to pull that up individually. So that swag pack includes the signed book as well. And we can get that for $18. So let's get started. So I will say what you see behind me, the Meet Me at the Summit and She's Not Here, which is this book here. This is all I have in stock. I do actually have a ton of stock of Essence and I Am Mercy. I don't know if you guys remember, I did BookCon a couple of weeks ago. I ordered way too many books, and I'm still working on getting rid of those books from BookCon. But I'm going to start by signing this book, Meet Me at the Summit, out to Justina. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce your name, but thank you so much for ordering. So I'm going to deal with the silence that is about to proceed, because I am always afraid if I talk and write at the same time, I am going to screw up majorly. So I have signed my name incorrectly many times in the past, and I tried to prevent that. But first signed book of the day. There we have it. I'm going to print out the shipping label and grab some lovely stuff to actually go ahead and ship everything. So I'm going to make sure that things get shipped as quickly and safely as possible. If you see me walk off screen, that's because some of my shipping supplies are over here. So I apologize. Let's see. Okay. I have bookmarks that I need to include, and they are fun ones that have a QR code to remind you guys to review the book on Amazon, because that is the simplest, easiest way to support a fellow author. So I think I saw questions already come in. What book am I currently reading? So, gosh, I'm currently reading like a murder mystery novel, and it is called The Butterfly House. I forget who it's by, but I know that it is a translated version. I forget what country it's originally from, but that's the thing that's throwing me off most, is that the names aren't all like English names. So keeping track of the characters has been a little difficult, but it's called The Butterfly House. It's like a best-selling novel. I found it at Barnes& Noble one day. It's pretty good. So that's what I'm currently reading. And if you guys want to share what you're currently reading, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. So I'm going to print the shipping label. I need to find the bubble wrap. If you guys hear strange things, that is my thing that prints my shipping labels. And I always like to wrap the pins in bubble wrap so they don't puncture anything during their travels. So let's see, what am I looking for? I'm seeing if we're missing any comments. Not yet. But yeah. So I did get a question on Instagram about formatting, and the question was, I forget who it was from. It might take me too long to pull it up, but the question was about like, what's a good price to pay for book formatting? And it really kind of depends. So I'm going to talk in specifics to formatting a novel, which is way simpler than formatting like a nonfiction books that has like subheaders, things like that. So when you're formatting a novel, you expect to pay at least $200 if you're paying someone else to do it. But honestly, it's probably going to cost you more than that. So I just actually upped my prices for my formatting services. I used to charge $275, I think, and that's for print and ebook formatting. I now charge a little bit more than that. But just kind of do your research. Obviously, the more experience a formatter has, the more they're going to charge for formatting. And then I also, if you guys didn't know, I have a formatting course, and I'm going to pull up the link to that for you guys. So if you want to check that out, that is a course that will teach you how to format your book professionally for both print and ebook. And it teaches you how to do it in Adobe InDesign. So I know a lot of people aren't huge fans of Adobe InDesign because it isn't something that is free like Microsoft Word. We all love and use Microsoft Word, but it's not made for formatting a book. And if you want to look at the link that I just sent in the chat, on the landing page of my course, there's a video that you guys can watch and check out, and it kind of just discusses really quickly why Microsoft Word may be a struggle when it comes to formatting your book. It is definitely possible, just way more time consuming. So if you're someone who's on a budget and you do want to learn how to format your book yourself, definitely check out the course. It's about 3 hours long, and it teaches you everything that you got to know to format your book. Let's see. I do see another question, and thank you guys for putting the Q in front of the question. That is super helpful for me. So what's your number one self-editing tip before you send it off to an editor? So I'm going to talk about this in terms of plot, because I am just notoriously bad at editing for just about anything else. I'm really bad about spotting grammar mistakes. So what I do is when I'm self-editing for like, let's say I just did the first draft, and I'm now like self-editing before I send it off to beta readers or alpha readers. That is my very much big picture things. Like, I'm just trying to fill any holes in my head. And I send it to alpha readers and beta readers knowing that there's going to be issues. And that's also a big thing for me. I no longer send anything to an editor until it's been with at least beta readers. And in my case, for this most recent book, Let the Rebel Fall, which the cover will be revealed at the end of this month now, which feels kind of crazy to say. Um, for that book, I actually sent it to alpha readers first, and I think I had two, two or three alpha readers, and they gave very large big picture feedback. And then I sent it to beta readers, and I want to say six beta readers, but that might not be correct. It might have been four or five beta readers. Um, but when I send it to beta readers, it's much more intentional in terms of I have a form, like a Google form that they fill out every 3 to 5 chapters. And the Google form, it's some of the questions are the same for every form. Like, what did you think of the characters? What did you think of the pacing, the setting? Like, could you picture everything? But then I also have questions specific to that section. So if like two characters had a conflict, I ask about that conflict. Like, was it realistic? What did you think of the dialogue? Like, anything that I'm self-conscious about, like that I know might be an issue, I always ask questions about and kind of either affirm the doubt or figure out, what needs to happen. So I guess my biggest self-editing tip is that I don't do it myself. I ask for other people's opinion. Um because I'm not the best at self-editing, but when I do any sorts of edits before working with an editor that I hire and pay money to, I work with beta readers. They give me feedback, and what I do is I go through the beta reader feedback and I take tons of notes, like a ridiculous amount of notes. And I kind of, as I edit the book, I literally cross things off. Like, I don't delete it. I don't delete it. I do that little thing that you can do in Google Docs where you can highlight stuff and then put the cross out through it. I literally cross things out because it's like checking off a to-do list. And then I also just kind of make sure that eventually everything is crossed out. And I just do the best I can with the feedback that I was given. And also, when you do work with beta readers, you have to be mindful that you don't have to do every single thing the beta reader suggests, but that's why you work with multiple beta readers. So if one beta reader has an issue with a particular scene, but like all the other beta readers thought it was fine, you can maybe decide if that was just like a personal preference thing. Because everyone's always going to have different opinions on your book, and you kind of have to kind of weed through everything to see what you agree with or maybe don't agree with. So I hope that answers that question. That was really long-winded, but I think it was helpful information. Okay, so we have everyone talking about what they're reading. So we have The Leavers by Lisa Coe, and we have Soul of a Rose by S.D. Hudson, and a fellow author too there. We have, let's see, we have Witch by Mark Brownless and Bug on Kindle Vella. I've actually never read anything on Kindle Vella yet, so I feel like I need to check it out. Truthfully, I haven't given Kindle Vella the time of day too much yet. But I do want to check it out eventually. Let's see. We have Jake here. You designed the cover for my book, The King's Army. My question for you is, what are your top tips for writing a coming of age novel? Ooh, okay. So first of all, Jake, it was great working with you for The King's Army. Such a fun book to design. Let's see. So top tips for coming of age. I don't know. I guess my top tip would just be to like really hone in on your character's arc, because coming of age is all about growing up, right? And in essence, you could kind of argue that almost every book has some sort of coming of age aspect, because that's what a character arc is they grow up, whether they're already a grown adult or not. And coming of age is especially fun for the young adult genre because every teen goes through some form of coming of age. And I highly enjoyed the arc that I got to write for Meet Me at the Summit. Um, So I think it's just to really focus in on what it is your main character is overcoming and how you can make them face that fear or situation or feeling head on. And one of my favorite books is the Save the Cat book, or in specifics, Save the Cat writes a novel by Jessica Brody. I found studying plot structure has been the most helpful thing for me. And even I've studied now like romance plot structure as I write book two, Let the Rubble Fall, and really make sure I hone in on those different points that make a book work and make a plot work and make a romance work. And I find it really helpful. Like, it's as someone who's very creative, it sometimes surprises me how analytical I can get. Like, I like having some structure. So studying a book and studying story structure has been incredibly helpful to me. And I want to say Save the Cat Writes a Novel has some sort of section on writing coming of age. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that would be like my number one recommendation always, is just to refer back to that book. Like, I refer to that book when I outline my books now. I refer to it as I edit, and I continue to refer to it like whenever I'm even brainstorming a book. That's actually how Meet Me at the Summit came to be, is that I was just kind of trying to build a story around the story beats. And it's just made my life way easier. Like, sometimes I wish I had gone into writing book two, Let the Rubble Fall, with a little more intention. Whereas Meet Me at the Summit, I was way more intentional about the story structure. And Let the Rubble Fall, I kind of let my characters go awry, and that has made my life more difficult when it comes to editing the book, which is where I'm at right now. Um, Okay, let's see. The link for your formatting. Oh, it's not working. That might be because I am viewing things on the back end. So I wonder if that's why I got the wrong thing. Let me try this one more time. So this is my bit.ly link for the course. That should work because I created that properly. I might have grabbed that too quickly and didn't double check the link, but the link I dropped now is for the formatting course. Da, da, da. It Let's see. Okay. So Elaine said she was able to pull it up. So who knows? It could have been my fault though. I'm kind of notorious for copying and pasting things really quickly. So let's see. I think I got all the questions that have come in so far. I guess the next question is, should I sign another book? So if anyone in the chat right now bought a book and you want it signed in particular to you, let me know what your order number is and what name you want it signed out to, and I can do that right now. In the meantime, if you guys have any other things you want to discuss, like we could discuss cover design or perhaps publishing, planning a book launch. That's what I'm quite literally in the middle of right now. I've had to you guys will see it in a future editing vlog that is kind of in the middle of being filmed right now, but I've gone through a little bit of a crisis with Let the Rubble Fall. I've had to move the release date so many times, which is also why I ended up moving the cover reveal date, cuz technically I was going to reveal the cover to you guys today. But that had to change because I needed more time to think of, the logistics of everything. I need to be 100% sure about my release date. I need to be 100% sure about the cover itself. Um, and yeah, sometimes I always think, the more books you publish, the better and easier things will go. It's not the truth. I think the more experience you get and the more books you publish, the more inclined you feel to overload your plate and then therefore crash and burn. But luckily, for me at least, the crashing and burning has only happened behind the scenes, and it will be better when you guys see it. Let's see. Ooh, okay. I have another one of my cover design clients here. I didn't realize so many of my design clients would be here, so this is fun. You did the cover for my book, Concrete Photograph. I've decided to shelve the novel and make Concrete Photograph a short story in a collection. Oh, that's interesting. So, I that's actually fun. I've always wanted to do a like little short story collection. I was actually one of I wrote like a flash fiction once, and it was included in an anthology, which is another cool fun thing. Um but yeah, I'm glad you were at least Jennifer, you were at least able to like include it in publishing in some way, shape, or form. But that's another fun cover I had a lot of fun with. I'm always anxious for people to reveal their covers because I have so much fun with them, and I'm just like, oh, when are you gonna reveal it? Like, I can't wait. I always have to keep track of like who's revealed theirs yet and who hasn't, so I know like I don't accidentally share any secrets. Let's see. So Elaine says, I would love to hear more about cover design. So if anyone has any particular cover design questions, let me know. I'm trying to think like what would be a good topic of discussion for cover design. Um, I can't I can't think of like any good discussions off the top of my head because there's just so much to it. It also varies a lot depending on genre. Um, but I will say I went to Barnes& and Noble yesterday for, like, the first time in a very long time, and I just had a blast. Like, I bought so many romance books, because I kinda wanna dive into more of that as a writer, so I was like, "Well, I have to dive into more of it as a reader too." And it's just fun to see all the different trends going on in cover design, especially for romance because they're all very much like illustrations and vector art, and that's something like that I dabble in, but I don't do like too much of. So I want to learn more from like a designer's perspective so I can provide that more and more to clients. Um, but yeah, let's see. We have other questions. Do you have any tips for vlogging? I struggle with vlogging myself. I feel like I'm an incredibly terrible vlogger, so I don't know if I can provide any great tips. I would say consume more vlogs. That's the biggest thing is you don't know how to create a vlog until you watch and understand vlogs. So for me, I try to do it a mix of talking to the camera and obviously B-roll and B-roll in a cinematic way or as cinematic as you can make it, where it's just visually appealing to watch. I also like to include things outside of just writing because I want to make it just more interesting. Like I love watching vlogs, but sometimes like I can't do it when someone's like just talking to a camera. So for me, when I know I'm filming a vlog, I try to make sure that I also take my camera along for when I'm doing fun things. Like when I go on like little hiking trips, I like to take the camera along and I kind of use it as an excuse to market my book as well because my books have a lot of hiking in it. And I also kind of save that footage to use on Instagram for just making reels and anything else. So I think the biggest tip is just to consume vlogs and to watch one. And if you really if you really enjoyed it, to kind of be mindful of what it is that you enjoyed about it. Is it the person in particular, or was it maybe the editing style? And I will say the more you vlog, the better you get at it, the more natural you get at it. Uh, Voiceovers can be a game changer. So, for example, when we went to Iceland, I vlogged the entire time, but I didn't talk to the camera much because even though he's my husband, I felt really awkward vlogging in front of my husband. So I did mostly B roll. And when I got home, I edited the footage together and then added a voiceover to kind of fill in any gaps that needed, explanations of what was going on or what I was doing. I also added like text to the screen to say, like, this is where we were today, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of different ways you can vlog because I am still obviously definitely someone who feels awkward. Just like pulling out a camera and talking to a camera in public. I'm not good at it. Da, 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 da. Let's see. So Elaine says, "Where is your favorite place to get your fonts? I've worked in graphic design, but all in corporate marketing, and that meant we didn't get to play much in typography." I'm sorry. My dog just moaned and groaned. You wait, come here. You want to help answer? What are you doing? What is she doing? Oh no, she found a squeaky toy. Okay, apologies in advance for any sounds that are about to happen. If it gets out of hand, I will take the toy away. Okay, so my favorite place to find fonts, and honestly, one of my favorite things about designing covers is the font, especially romance books get to have the really fun fonts with like that's more like handwritten style. Those are fun to work with, and fantasy can have a lot of fun fonts too. But my favorite place is Creative Market. I actually ended up signing up for their subscription, and it basically means like I have X amount of credits that I get to spend every month, and I can spend it on fonts or like different effects or stock photos, videos, whatever. Creative Market has a lot of things, but I will say they are my go to for fonts. And I also like it because there have been a couple of times where I've had to like wipe my computer, aka delete everything. So when I do that, I obviously lose any fancy fonts that I bought and purchased, which is why I try to buy everything off of Creative Market, because Creative Market has like everything that you've ever purchased. So whenever I have to wipe out my computer and start over to like fix a virus issue or whatever, I make sure I at least have all my fonts. Let's see. So Donna asks, cover design question, do you use Photoshop or Illustrator? I use mainly Photoshop. I am very much someone who prefers doing photo manipulation rather than illustration. Um, and when I do illustration, I do it on my iPad. So there have been a couple of times where I've custom illustrated something for a client. I don't do it often. It's not something I advertise because it's not something I feel I am gifted at, but I do it enough to know that I can do it if necessary. So whenever I need to illustrate something by hand, aka like paint something out, I prefer using my iPad in Procreate. But if I am going to, there's a lot of vector art out there, and vector art is a completely different thing. It's not something that you like paint, it's you create points, and I really don't know how to describe vector art without a visual, but a lot of the romance covers you guys see, like if you go to Barnes Noble and you see stuff that's like very graphic and bold and it pops, that's vector art, and that is made in Illustrator usually. And I'm not a huge fan of Illustrator. My job that I was at before, a couple years ago, they use Adobe Illustrator a lot, and I took quite a few classes on Adobe Illustrator, and I know it enough to get around, but I'm not a huge fan of it. So that answers that question. I feel like it's totally a personal preference thing. That doesn't mean Adobe Illustrator is bad. It just means that I've done Photoshop for so long that that's my preference. And I've been using Photoshop for a long time. Like even before college. College was when I formally started like learning Photoshop. But before that, I was kind of editing photos way, way before that. Okay, so have you ever had any major structural rewrites that you had to do after your developmental editor or alpha readers have read your draft? And if so, what is your process for that? So uh, that's what I'm going through right now. So, basically, I sent my book to beta readers, or no, I sent my book to alpha readers, and it was very big picture stuff. And the alpha readers had some feedback, but nothing that was like totally surprising. So when I sent it to beta readers, I was definitely thinking like, oh, this is gonna be fine. And then when I got it back from beta readers, that was the most shocked I have ever been getting beta reader feedback. And Jessamy, I think that's how I say your name, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Aren't you one of my beta readers? I can't remember. I've seen so many names, and I don't know if it's because 'cause you're a beta reader or someone else, but, yeah, so I have to do a pretty significant rewrite for Let the Rubble Fall, AKA in the romance department. The plot of the book itself is more or less fine. I just got, how do I describe this? I got so caught up in the conflict of the book that I would say I completely forgot the romance part of the book, or at least the good part of the romance part, and I focused a little bit too much on the conflict. So I ended up reading Romancing the Beat, and I forget who it's by, but if you put that into Amazon, it'll pop up. It's a very short book. I read the book, I took notes on the book, and now what I'm doing is I'm re-outlining the entire book. Like, I'm taking the outline as is. I think I'm going to do it on paper, like with index cards. I'm going to write things out on index cards and then write things out that need to be added in, and basically just moving things around until it looks right. And yay, okay, I did remember correctly. You are one of my beta readers, so you know the issues that are in the book as is. So rest assured, I am making the fixes that are necessary. And also, it's possible that that is why you asked this question, and if that is, I don't blame you. So hopefully, my biggest thing with this now is that I miss things because I'm doing such significant rewrites, is that I'm just afraid that I'm gonna miss stuff and it's not gonna be perfect. But I can rest assured that it will be better than what you read. So that's the only thing I can do to calm myself, because I already have like things lined up for a copy editor. So yeah. I'll be talking about it more in the editing vlog, because there was definitely a whole emotional roller coaster that I went through. Um, to give you guys a behind the scenes look, the book was originally supposed to come out in September. I had to bump it back a few months. I'm not gonna tell you guys the new release date because I want to save that as like a reveal. But it was bumped back significantly, and it took me a long time to come to terms with that, because I can be very stubborn in my goals sometimes. And I just had to realize, you know what? If I rush it, that's when things are going to go haywire. And I really need to take my time doing these rewrites. So, yeah. Next question. Top tips for marketing your books. Top tip would be follow other authors and see what they're doing and see what's working. So TikTok is a big thing right now. I'm not on TikTok, but I am on Instagram, and I'm posting Instagram reels. And I've actually had like significant, I wouldn't say like hugely significant luck, but like enough luck to feel good enough about Instagram reels to continue making them and using them to promote my book. Um, I've had literally 0 luck on TikTok, but that's probably because I make my, reels for Instagram, and then I repost them to TikTok. But, obviously, if I want my TikToks to go well, I need to make them on TikTok. So, it and also just following trends. Like, there's so many, not just on TikTok, like, obviously, TikTok trends are something you wanna hop on, but in marketing itself. So, like, a couple years ago, people would be very much preaching about, like, blog tours and, newsletters. And newsletters are still a great tool, but there's so much, it's more than that. Like, it's not just having a newsletter, it's like having a newsletter and doing newsletter swaps and doing like very specific things with your newsletter. um and I think just always being open and able to adapt, because I think the biggest issue you'll fall into as an author is doing one thing and it works, and you just decide that's the only thing you're going to do, but then eventually it's going to stop working. So you have to be able to easily shift your plan for marketing and constantly finding the new thing that works, because it's going to be constantly changing no matter what. Okay, Simon. Hello, I'm writing my first book. I am 100K words in, third round of edits before final editor, and I have a question. How do you mean how does Word work, or I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly. I'm gonna assume you're asking how like Microsoft Word works. Um, and I don't know if you mean in terms of formatting. So, Simon, if you're still watching, can you clarify and I can answer that question better if you're asking specifically like formatting in Microsoft Word or just, I don't know, using Word in a different way. Okay. Skylar asks, do you create covers for all genres? And if I haven't ordered my books yet, will they not be signed? It ends at midnight tonight. So all the books are going to be signed. Like anytime you buy books off of my website, I will paste it in real quick. Anytime you buy books off of this website that I just pasted in, they're under a tab labeled signed books. And that basically means no matter when you buy it, it's always going to be signed. The sale ends at midnight, but um, even if you buy the books tomorrow, I will still sign it. If you buy it like during this live stream and you tell me what your order number is, you can tell me who you want me to sign it out to, and I can sign it out to you specifically that way. Or if you buy the books tomorrow, you can send me an email with your order number and tell me who you want it signed out to. Or when you order, you get an email being like a confirmation thing. If you just respond to that saying, can you sign it out to Skylar? I'll sign it out that way. Otherwise, I just haven't figured out on my website how to put a customization thing. So that's the only bummer. But if you really want me to sign it out specifically to you, there's always a way to figure that out. And then answering your actual question, do you create covers for all genres? I do. Um, there's definitely covers that I probably haven't created genres for, but I've done like historical. I've done so many different nonfictions. I've done memoirs. I've done fantasy. I've done dystopian. I've done romance. I did one erotica one that was interesting. I definitely like. It's always fun getting those because you never know what's gonna be requested. But yeah, I'm good for doing any genres. My favorites, in case you were wondering, is doing like thrillers. Those are really fun. I love the look of thriller novels. They're so like simplistic but really edgy. And then I also love doing romance because I don't know, they're so colorful and they just have such a different feeling and it's fun. So those are my favorites to do, but I would say the ones I do most often are fantasy. So, yeah, I do a lot of fantasy book covers, but I wouldn't say they're my favorite, probably because I just get sick of them after a while. Like, you can only design so many fantasy book covers in a day before you get kind of over it, if you know what I mean. Let's see. Do-do-do. Okay, tips for making Instagram reels. So, I actually made an exclusive video for YouTube members to make Instagram reels or well, specifically just how I plan my social media content in general. Like I use the app monday.com to plan literally everything. But I did a video on how I plan Instagram reels there. So if you want to watch the video, it goes more in depth with it, but you do have to join as a YouTube member to watch that. But my biggest tip is to just what I do is either on Mondays or Fridays, I go into Instagram and I just save a bunch of Instagrams and then I create at least 5 reels and I save it in a draft and I kind of plan out when they're going to be posted out. So that's what I do. I do that once a week. I've seen creators who do that once a month where they batch content and they batch content for a month, but my God, I do not have the attention span for that. I can only last as long as a week's worth of content when it comes to planning out stuff for Instagram. So, batch filming is definitely a big help. I used to do it where I would like change my outfit for every reel. I realized pretty quickly I don't care that much for Instagram reels. I filmed them all in the same outfit. You guys are welcome to look back at my Instagram reels and see that you can find at least 2 or 3 where I'm wearing the same outfit. So, yeah. Let's see. Oh, this is funny. Jennifer is reminding me that I did a YA Dark Academia book cover, so that one was fun too. Oh my gosh, if I could just show you guys all the fun genres I've worked in, it's so much fun. Let's see. So Simon did some clarification for me. So I meant words as words. Are they like Legos? I meant this as a half joke. I am so bad with jokes over text, guys. It's not good. They go right over my head. As part of my writing journey, I've learned things like action tag, dialogue tags, and passive versus active. So that's not one of my strong suits. I'm going to be completely bold and honest. Like all those different things, that's where I rely heavily on my copy editors. Bethany was the one who kind of did the copy edits for Meet Me at the Summit, and she was a huge help in that. And I've tried reading books on it and like really absorbing it, and it just doesn't jive with me. Like what jives with me is story structure more so than sentence structure. I hope I get better and learn to love it as I move on in my author career, but who the heck knows? Okay, here's a great question. When should someone book a cover designer in the writing process? So, I've had a lot of stressful situations where full disclosure to you guys, I book out at least a month or two, sometimes 3 months in advance. So I sometimes get authors who contact me saying their book is being published next month. Can I design their cover? Some cover designers can design, like as soon as you talk to them, they can design your cover right away, get working on it. I am not one of those cover designers. I am a cover designer who schedules their clients out way far in advance because I'm just overwhelmed by life. So my recommendation is um, cover design is one of those fun things where you can start it early if you want to. It's not quite like hiring an editor, where when you hire an editor, you kind of have to be more definitive about where you are in your process. But for cover design, you can hire way out in advance. But there's also a downside to that. I know a lot of authors who get super, super excited by the publishing process and they hire an editor early, and they get the cover designed and done and ready before maybe the first draft is even written, or before they've even worked with a developmental editor or beta readers or any of that. For me, I feel like the best thing to do is to wait until the first draft at minimum. Wait until the first draft is done. Maybe even wait until you're done developmental edits, because once you're done developmental edits, you'll know like what your publishing timeline is. And cover design can take as little as 1 month or as many as 6 months if we're taking into consideration the fact that cover designers are booked out in advance. Um, so definitely try contacting, if you know someone who you want to be your cover designer, contact them, ask them what their schedule is looking like, and then like schedule accordingly and be mindful of that. I do try to sway people from getting their cover designed too early though, because when you get it designed before, the nearing the end stages of editing, sometimes you just get it designed because you're super, super excited about it. And there's been a lot of authors I've worked with there where they get a cover designed and then the book never ends up getting published because they just like they lost the spark. Like at the beginning, you write and rewrite, but then the longer it takes to write and rewrite, the less joy you can sometimes find in the process. And sometimes when you get to that point of less joy, you need the joy of designing a cover. Like that might be the thing that helps you finish editing your book. Um, so to answer your question, I would say maybe 3 to 6 months before your publishing date. And 3 months is kind of cutting it close. And you can sometimes manage 3 months before your publishing date if you're really sure about the cover designer's schedule. Like I just finished designing my book cover, but that felt like a very last minute uh decision on my part, if we're going to put it that way. Uh let's see. How many covers do you design in an average month? So hopefully this number goes down. For the past 3 to 4 months, basically ever since I got back from Iceland, I've been no, before that. Before that, I was designing a lot too. But when I was in Iceland, I made sure I had significantly less clients because I knew I had half the month where I was in a different country. But right now, the past many months, I've had 10 new clients a month, and that has been an overwhelming number. It's made it harder for me to work on my book. Because for me, I always put my clients first. And that's just because I believe in good customer service. I believe in clear communication and fast responses when it comes to doing revisions. I try to be the best freelancer that I can be. Unfortunately, that means things like my YouTube channel suffer, things like my own book release suffers. So that is why you guys may have noticed I haven't been posting as much. It's why I've had to push back my release date. I am just overwhelmed, and I'm so grateful for all the clients that I've worked with. But if I'm going to be totally honest, every time I check my email, I am completely overwhelmed. Um, and I've come up with an incredibly great organization system for working with all these clients. And I am happy to say no one has fallen through the cracks. But I also know that there are just some days where I look at my workload and I just want to cry. Like, it's a lot of work. So going forward, I am working with significantly less clients. I am working with a maximum of 5 clients a month, which means that my schedule is going to be booked out that much faster. Um, so I always have to be mindful of that. I've accidentally overbooked myself many times where I tell people like, "Oh, I have openings this month," and then it takes them like a week to get back to me. And now the one opening that was open has already been filled, but I feel like I told them I was open for that month so that I owe them that month. And yeah, it's so the answer is 10, but going forward it will be 5 because I need to put myself back as a priority, and I also don't want the quality of covers to suffer. I don't want to be working 12-hour days anymore, and I want to get back to doing the things I love to do, like YouTube and working on my own books. So I will always be working with clients, but I do know going forward I'll probably be working with less and less just because I am so overwhelmed. And that's actually a big reason why I did my formatting course, because I was feeling overwhelmed. And I know that formatting is something that people can learn to do themselves. I also know people are requesting a course on book cover design, and I want to do that, guys. I really want to make a book cover design course, but I am painfully aware of how complex that would be. So I just have no idea where to start, but I've been brainstorming it. So if you guys are interested in a cover design course, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll make a like wait list sort of email notification like I did with the formatting course. It just might be a little bit longer. Let's see. Here's another question from Elaine. Do you have a video featuring your favorite book cover designs you've done, or just your favorites in general? I'd love to see some of your favorites. I do not, but that sounds like a great idea. I'm going to write that down if you don't mind me. So, Elaine, if you see that video come out in a couple weeks, you'll know you were the reason why. So that does get tricky because I just have to make sure that the covers I feature are covers that have been revealed to the public. But I think that would be fun, especially if I get the authors whose covers I've designed, if I can get them involved in some way, shape, or form. But we'll see. Okay, let me see. I'm writing that down. Uh, And also, apologies for not doing any signings. I know I literally signed only one book and now I haven't done any more, but I don't do well with talking and doing other things at the same time. So I might just sign the rest of these books off camera unless someone tells me they have a book that they want me to sign. Da 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 da. Uh, okay, let's see. Jennifer asks, have you ever had a client that you designed a paperback cover for come back to you and need a revised cover for some reason? What's the process for that? That actually happens a lot. So let me grab one of my books just so I can have something visual. So let's say I hire someone to design the cover for Meet Me at the Summit. I illustrated this myself, but let's say I hired someone to design this, the whole shebang, the whole wrap. So a lot of the times is you have a cover, you have the spine, you have the back. The thing that usually needs updating the most is this. I actually just updated the blurb on Amazon and I haven't updated the blurb on the back of the paperback yet. So if I were a client and I hired a cover designer, I would contact the cover designer and say, hey, I have a new blurb on the back of my book. Can you update it? What would the cost for that be? And then you just find out what the cost would be. It's usually not anything like super expensive. I usually charge like 20 bucks unless it's something like really like if you need like the spine updated and other things updated, I charge more. But if it's simple things like just updating text, that's relatively easy. Sometimes people need the spine updated, so if they added additional content into the book and now the book is thicker or thinner, then the spine needs to be updated. It actually happens way more often than you would think, because nothing is ever finalized, especially when you're an indie author. But that's also the joy of it, is that I can update this whenever I want. I can always update the back cover blurb. I can always fix any typos. I can always add on end matter. So this is going to have a book too. Right now, the book ends saying, what does that say? The road trip continues in book 2, coming soon. I can, once book 2 comes out, I can add a link to order book 2. I can add a first chapter excerpt to start reading book 2. And in that case, I would obviously need to update the spine because now we have additional pages. But there's always a reason to update any part of the book. And again, that's one of the joys of being an indie author, is that you can do that whenever you want. Let's see. Have you ever designed a cozy mystery cover or a cover for a collections of short stories by one author? I don't think I've done a collection of short stories yet. I've done a collection of poems. I also know, I forget who it was, but she said the cover that I designed for her book was going to be a standalone, but now I think she said she's doing it as a short story collection. So I don't know if she's going to come to me needing cover updates or what. But I've done poetry and I've done a bunch of other similar things, but not quite short stories. But I have done a cozy mystery, and it was like a historical cozy mystery, and it was a lot of fun. Uh, and I think it's been revealed to the public, but I can't remember. But if I ever do a video where I show off my favorite covers, that historical cozy mystery one is one of them, and I'm obsessed with it. Let's see. Oh, I just lost my place. Da, 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 da. Okay, let's see. Is there a way to make the book release process peaceful, or at least not completely overwhelming? So the answer to that is tools. That is what I found makes the process as peaceful as possible. So there's a ton of tools you can use. There's the book launch planner. You guys know that. That's like a checklist to make sure you don't forget things. So I personally use the book launch planner, and I also use Monday.com. I have a video. Let me see if I can pull it up without awkwardly playing the video. But in that video, I show you guys how I use Monday.com to plan out my book release. Let's see. Gosh, I don't know how to grab the link without having the video play. So apologies if you hear me talking all of a sudden. Let's see. Okay, good. I paused it. Oh, okay. I muted myself, so I think that did the trick. Let's see. This is the video that I recommend watching if you want to be less overwhelmed. So that's the video where I show how I use Monday.com to plan out my book release. And then I also use that in conjunction with the book launch planner. So I use the book launch planner as like a starting place, and then Monday.com to really be nitpicky about everything. Let's see. Okay, I think I've answered all the questions that have come in so far. So if I missed anyone's question, let me know. Let's see, but we're approaching on an hour, so I might wrap things up. Um, Oh, here we go. That was Jennifer. Jennifer tuned in. That was me turning my novel into a collection of short stories. And she says, and yes, I will be coming to you when I'm ready for a cover. Yeah. So, like I said, she says she's waiting until she knows for sure. That's another reason why to wait on cover design sometimes, because it, like I said, it can be so exciting that you just want to do it as soon as possible. But it's also really great to just wait, because things can change really last minute. Even like if you do a rewrite of your book and something that you have on the cover was significant and now it's not significant anymore, like there's so many things that can happen to uh change the cover design process. Let's see. Author DL Tillery says, I just got my book launch planner. Love it. What program do you recommend for creating covers for just a beginner? I know people use Canva. As someone who uses Photoshop, though, I can't stand Canva. I like using Canva for quick things. I do know they have options for designing book covers in Canva. They have templates, but when you use the Canva templates, you want to make sure you change it so that it's not recognizable as one of those templates anymore. I've seen that happen a couple of times where I see a book that's been published. I'm like, oh, they designed that on Canva. um, but honestly, my number one tool is Photoshop. Photoshop has endless possibilities. If there's ever anything you want to do, you can figure out how to do it in Photoshop. You can also figure out how to do it if you're even just a beginner. Honestly, what separates a beginner is not what software you use. What separates a beginner from an expert is design principles, if you ask me at least. Like someone can use Photoshop, which is a more advanced program, but their cover is still going to look awful if they don't know principles of design. So that's the number one thing you have to learn. And I would say if I did a like cover design course, that would be the number one thing I want to teach first is the principles of good design. You know, what it means to have balance and how to work with typography. There's so much that goes into a good design and learning what makes something appealing to the eye and what does not. And sometimes it's helpful. I forget what the website is called, but there's definitely a website out there that exists that is literally just for collecting bad book cover designs. And basically, book cover designers use that website to look at bad book covers and to understand why those book covers don't work. So then you can use that to design your own covers and create balance and cohesion and um, all those different things. Let's see. I see a cover, or sorry, a question. What are your thoughts on using free softwares like Gimp? I actually have zero experience, so I can't even give you my opinion. I'll be honest, I don't even know what that is. I swear I live in my own bubble. I know the softwares that I use and I love them, and that's about it. Okay, then we have this question. I have received a lot of help from a pair of authors on my writing journey. As a student, I do not have much and have refused, and they have refused me paying them. What can I do to show them how much I appreciate them? Ooh, okay. All right, all right. So your situation is that you had two authors, at least two. Well, you said a pair, so it could be multiple authors. Um, I would say, put them in the acknowledgement section of your book for sure. That's a great place to start. Giving them a little shout out on social media is also a great place. If they are refusing to take money, the only thing that you can do is just make sure that they are aware of how thankful you are. Um, Maybe if they're authors, buy their book, review their books on Amazon. Maybe just give their books a little shout out. There's a lot of things that you can do to like show an author thanks without like physically giving someone money. Um, let's see. Oh, Dale says he knows what GIMP is. I'll be honest, I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly. GNU image, um, sorry, I'm so bad for my brain's not working today. GNU image manipulation program. It's open source but has a steep learning curve. Oh, okay. All right. I might need to check that out. And now that I've seen it written out like that, that sounds like vaguely familiar. It kind of sounds a little bit like I know there's software out there that does, what is it called? It's I can't think of what it's called, but there's an artist I follow on YouTube who used it one in a video, and it's using AI to create art, and it's like the weirdest thing. Um, but now I know I need to check out GIMP because everyone's talking about it. It Use it in tandem with Canva. Oh, interesting. Okay, I have so many questions now. Um, and everyone is talking about it. Oh my goodness. Okay, I need to check out that now. So, if you guys have any other softwares I should find, let me know because I am obviously clueless when it comes to anything outside of my bubble. I know there's 3D imaging software that a lot of cover design artists use as well. I'm actually in the middle of like taking a course on that type of software where you can pose your model a certain way and then you paint over them. And I find that so interesting, but the software intimidates me so much that I don't even know like where I would start with that. For all I know, it could be the GIMP software that I'm talking about too, because that's just how little. uh, Okay, let's see. Sorry, I was reading the comments, so just pulling it up. No, it's not like that. GIMP is like the generic version of Photoshop. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Okay. I feel like there's been a couple other like generic Photoshop softwares out there too. I am definitely like, I'm a huge fan of Adobe. Like, I will forever be in love and obsessed with it. I use Adobe InDesign for formatting, and then I use Adobe Photoshop for cover design. I sometimes also use Adobe Illustrator, but you guys already heard me rant about that. And then I use Adobe Premiere Pro for video editing, which I just am in love with and obsessed over. Let's see. Okay, I think that is everyone's questions, unless I missed anything. But I think I'm gonna wrap things up because unfortunately for me, my day of work has just begun. But I have to thank you guys so much for tuning in, for everyone who tagged along, for everyone who's ordered books so far, because literally I apologize. I only signed one book during this live stream, but I have like at least 10 more that need to be signed and shipped out. So I'll be making a trip to the post office either today or tomorrow. Remember, if you want to order books, you can get Essence and I Am Mercy for $5, or you can get the both of them for just $8. Meet Me at the Summit has the fun little bundle with the VW bus pin and the stickers. She's Not Here is for sale for only $8. And then we have my children's book, Mr. Moon's Big Move, for sale for $5. And honestly, I just always have to show off the page with Mr. Moon. For you guys who don't know, Mr. Moon did pass away last summer. Um, he got really sick really fast, and we miss our little buddy. Like, I have to say that we miss him so much. But I'm so glad I have the little children's book, and the photos of him in here are some of my favorite photos. Let me find it again because I need to show it off. My personal favorite, I think, is him wearing his Gryffindor little bow tie. But I don't know. I love all the photos. So that is it. I'm going to have Yue join us for the sign off. Let's see. Oh, okay. She's been kindly sleeping and not squeaking her squeaker toy. So that was very kind of her. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing and anyone who's ordered books. And yeah, I will see you guys all hopefully next week in a new video. Thank you all